Good morning, folks. This is Pawpaw here with my boy Ivan in the little Ivan cave, and his little friend Soph. They're having their alfalfa. They just got through eating their grain, and I had mentioned something about Bigfoot one time, and somebody said, "Oh, you got to tell us your story about Bigfoot." Well, there's actually 3 stories, and I'll make them quick. I know you don't want to be bored to death with Bigfoot. When my brother and I was in high school, I think he was a senior and I was a freshman, we decided to go camping out on the bayou. It's about 5 miles out in those woods, and back then it was big timber, old virgin growth timber. And the bayou was 5 miles out, and the only water source that time of year is in the fall before we started getting the rains, was the bayou, and then the river over here. So about 5 miles apart. And so the animals always congregate, that time of year around the water sources. Well, we got out there. It took us about an hour and a half to get there. We took my dad's old farm-off tractor. A little old trailer. We threw our tent on it and our sleeping stuff and some food. I think we had some weenies and stuff like that, some bread. And my brother took his old shotgun, and some shells, and throwed it in the trailer. We took off. Well, it took a while to get there because the old road was all growed up. Nobody had been out that way in so long, and we had to clear some brush places to get through, and we finally got to where we was going. And I don't know why we wanted to go that far, but we did, and we was camped up there, had a camp set up. And you listen to the story, baby girl? I want you to ever see a Bigfoot, you run. And and anyway, my baby girl. We started hearing, they had our old dog with us, old Rex, big old black mouthed cur dog, crossbred with blue tick, and he was a ferocious dog, big dog. And he was mean. He could take a wild hog down by himself. And he wasn't afraid of nothing. And my dad even used him when they'd be herding them old wild cows out there. He'd put that dog on them. And old Rex, he'd turn a cow around in a heartbeat or flip her upside down even. He was bad. But whatever it was out there, we could already hear these noises. Something would break a limb, and then it would thump, 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 hitting on stuff. And we never heard of anything like that, and never heard of the Bigfoot stories yet either. That was way before you ever heard all these kind of stories you see on TV all the time. So we didn't relate. It wasn't no relation there to us. We wondered about it. Plus, it worried us a little bit because our old dog was a little bit afraid to go out. He wouldn't go out there. He'd growl, he'd growl, and bark, but he wouldn't go out and look. And that was kind of strange, knowing his character. It went on all evening, just kind of different places. So finally, my brother took his old shotgun and shot up in the air. Then it got quiet. No more sounds for probably an hour or so. Then it started up again. And this went on, off and on, all night long. We was about half scared to death, but we didn't had no flashlight. How were we gonna get home with a flashlight, that old tractor, in them woods? So we was kind of stuck. So we're down here, my brother take his old shotgun and shoot up there, and things are quiet down there. And the old dog got so scared, he finally run inside the tent with his tail tucked between his legs and wouldn't go back out. And when he got scared, we got scared. So we didn't sleep at all that night. We'd shoot that old gun every now and then. My brother sat there by the tent door. He'd shoot that old gun up in the air. And we just kind of sat there in the tent. Now and then we'd ease out, throw some more wood on the fire, and get back in that tent. But we made it. We survived. All right, let's skip 20 years or so. Old Cuz, y'all know him that makes the boats, and I went fishing back here on the river. And we set out a trot line. That's where you go from one bank to the other. And you put hooks about every 3 foot hanging down off of it. And our river's not real big. It's about a couple of 100 foot at the most, the biggest places. Where we was at was probably about a 100-foot stretch across there, maybe a little bit further. And the bank we was on was a sloping bank, and that's where we had our camp set up, our fire and all that, our trucks parked up on the bank. And then we had The other bank, though, it sloped away from the river a ways, then it went straight, almost straight up, like a big bluff bank. So we started hearing these things during the day. The limbs cracking and breaking, and you hear this thump, thump, thump. And he's wondering what that is. And still, at that point in our life, we'd never really heard that much about Bigfoot. You know, it didn't dawn on us. So we always think some cows over. He said, no, that's a big hunting lease. They don't allow no kind of cattle in there. It's thousands of acres, thousands, several thousand acres of just old virgin timber. And it's only used during deer season. And they're going back to eat some more. They go back and forth. And so we paddled over there. Went up on the bank and walked around, and it was quiet. Not a bird, not nothing. There was no sounds, but it's dark woods. And so we said, we better get on back over to our camp. Get on back to our camp. So we paddled back over to our camp, and we ain't no more got back to our bank, and it started that stuff up again. It went on for a while. So about midnight, we was fixing to curl up on our little sleeping bags and go to sleep. We decided we ought to at least check our lines and rebait them if we need to. So we get in the old boat and we paddle out. We got a couple of nice fish on it. We said, just leave them on the hooks tonight. We'll get them tomorrow morning. And we're baiting our hooks. Those where we'd lost bait. And all of a sudden, you know, like something is throwed something coming right close by us. I don't know what it was. It had to be something big. It hit the water beside the boat, right beside the boat. And almost the old boat started this kind of stuff. You know, like I walk. Yeah, splash water all over us. So whatever got thrown at us was big and heavy. Well, we become believers. We become believers then. And we paddled that boat probably halfway up on that bank before we realized it was out of the water. And we jumped out. Cuz took off to his truck, and I took off to mine. And we sat in our trucks for a minute with our headlights on, both of us. Finally, we drove back up here to the barn. We talked about it for a little bit, you know. Kind of like kids. We had to talk about it. And we decided that it had to be a Bigfoot. And we wasn't going to go back. We wasn't going back in the dark. No, sir. We was not going back in the dark. Y'all like this story? Y'all just got to be careful back here, okay? Got to be careful. So he went home and I went home. You know, we had a story to go home to. You know, oh, well, I just got tired, you know, whatever, mosquitoes, whatever. Next day we went back and our camp was fine, nothing bothered. And we went and finished, got all our stuff packed up and got our fish all taken in, but you know, it never made a sound over there. Whatever it was not there that day. But whatever it was didn't want us there that night for some reason. Now, so then we skip along a few more years, and I'll tell you a story about paintballing. Our sons, who are grown men by this time, and their families of their own, and cousins and I are naturally a little bit older, we would all play paintball. And if you know a little bit about paintball, you get shot when they hurt. They wore these masks so you wouldn't, you know, get your eyes knocked out. And when they hit, they splatter. And I always carried a rag in my pocket, and the cuz did too, to wipe sweat off our face and wipe the fog if I get mask fogged up or whatever. Now our boys, because they always lost, would say, oh, y'all carry them rags so y'all wipe that paint off in case we shoot you. Well, I was a Marine. They ain't gonna shoot me. I know tactics. Yeah, we beat them every game. We beat them every game. They never beat us. It finally got to the point where they wanted to be on our team. And sometimes we would have 15 to 20 people down there, grown men, playing paintball. But they never beat us. They'll lie. If they say they beat us, they lie. So anyway, I carried this rags in my pocket. So I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm coming down this trail, and it was pine straw all on the ground. You couldn't see no tracks. But about 8 foot up, there was a limb, broke off, sticking out about 6 to 8 inches from that tree. It was a green limb, green. It wasn't like rotten. And on the end of it was a gob of fur or hair. Well, I said to whoever was with me, I said, hey, look at that. And we thought about it for a minute. I said, Lord, you think that could be a Bigfoot? And it's kind of a joke. And in a way, it wasn't a joke. I said, I'm going to take that hair and get somebody to look at it. So I reached up and I pulled it. It was a handful, like something shoulder. That's what I imagine, something shoulder walking by, big, strong, brawny shoulder hit that limb and it broke it right off, jerked some hair out of him. And it stuck in my pocket. Well, during the game that day, playing paintball, at some point I pulled that rag out of my pocket and I guess I lost that hair. I went back and I looked all over. You couldn't find no hair in the woods, but it was, the guy with me saw it. And we looked at it for a long time. So, is there? I don't know. That's my Bigfoot stories. Since then, you can see Bigfoot stories everywhere. They throw stuff at you, like the rock in the water. It almost sunk our boat. We've never found no tracks. But I don't put nothing past what might be out there. They still discover stuff. They still discover stuff that was extinct or never heard of. And down around here, it'd be hard for one to hide out unless you got no more big, thick woods like that. But up the Northwest, some places where it's remote, probably could. Some places they call them Yeti. Some places they call them Sasquatch. Ivan? Here, it could be Ivan. We call him an Ivan. My boy and my girl. And we're here in the man cave. Y'all can see the little Christmas lights and all the signs up. They had Christmas lights all night long. I came out to look at them, check on them last night before bedtime. Little green lights out over their door. And they're in here eating their hay, and they was having a good time. One more thing I got to say. Little Sophie's been grounded. She's been grounded to the goat pen during the day, unless I'm home. If I'm home, she can stay out in the front yard. But she went off down to Lester's yesterday, down to the sanctuary. Jake goes by driving by on a mule on his four-wheeler. I guess she thought that was me. She took off after him. Jake never looks back like I do. I look back because I know I'm going to have company. He went down the road, do some kind of errand. He come back, thankfully. She was out in the middle of the road, safe, standing in front of the church out in the middle of the road. So he brought her home, thank God. But somebody could have come by and got her. Some dogs could have jumped on her. There's dogs down there. But anyway, she was safe, but I told her, you're grounded, kid. You can't just wander around there today if Papa's gone. All right, guys, I'm going to let y'all go with this story. I hope you enjoyed it. That's my Bigfoot stories. He's out there. I can't close the video off without y'all see these boys and girls here. And it's cool this morning, but it's warm in here. These guys are gonna do well in here during the winter. And they got all their little decorations around. I don't know if y'all can see all the stuff. They got stuff. All right. You guys have a great day. And I love you. Y'all take care.